I want to talk about 3 Nigerian states today. But before I do, I need you to hold on to one number in your head. 47 years is the number. That is roughly how long the North has controlled the leadership of this country. Prime Minister, military heads of states, civilian presidents, from Tafawa Balewa in 1960 to Muhammadu Buhari, who left in 2023. Northern leaders have sat at the top of this country for approximately 47 out of 65 years of independence. Now, keep that number in your head, like I said, because what I'm about to show you will make it very difficult to explain why the North still feels like Nigeria owes it something. And when I say keep the number in your head, understand that I'm not talking about 3 different states in Nigeria. I'm talking about Lagos State, I'm talking about Rivers State, and I'm putting the whole North as one state. You will understand this better. Just hold on. Let us start with Rivers State. 344,000 barrels of oil every single day. River is not just an oil state. River is Nigeria's engine room. The oil that keeps this federal government breathing. The oil that pays allocation to states that have never seen a single rig. A significant portion of it comes from underneath Rivers soil. Between January and August 2025, Rivers received 388 billion from the federal account. Now let me explain what federal account is, because this word is going to come up with a lot. This particular bill, a lot of federal account stands for Federation Account Allocation Committee. It is the monthly pot that the federal government shares among all 36 states, the federal government itself, and local government across the country. Every state in Nigeria receives a share from this pot every single month. The question is what each state contributes to it versus what is taken out. Here is how the game works for Rivers. When River pumps oil, the money enters that central federal account. The law gives Rivers 13% back. That is called derivation. The remaining 87% goes into a common pool that every state in Nigeria shares from, including states with zero oil, including states that have contributed absolutely nothing, and I mean it, absolutely nothing to that pot. But the number is not even the most painful part. The most painful part is what Rivers communities are living with in exchange for every naira it generates for this country. Oil spills everywhere. It's devastating. Everywhere there is oil spill, and the people are paying for it with their lives. The community is dragging Shell to court in United Kingdom because they have lost faith that Nigeria will ever give them justice. A community leader said it plainly. He said the money they are spending in Abuja is blood money. You know why? Because people are dying for the money that they are enjoying. One more number. Life expectancy in the Niger Delta region is 41 years. 41 years. The national average is 61. River people are dying 20 years earlier than the rest of Nigeria, so that the federal account stays full to give everyone their monthly share. And they get 13% back. Remember I said I'm going to use the whole North as a state. Now let's talk about them. 19 states. Between January and August 2025, here is what they've received from the federal account. Kano got 195 billion. Kaduna 165 billion. Katsina 153 billion. Borno 151 billion. Bauchi 146 billion. Niger 144 billion. Benue 141 billion. Sokoto 140 billion. Jigawa 136 billion. Adamawa 131 billion. Zamfara 134 billion. Plateau 129 billion. 123 billion for Kebbi, and then Yobe 119 billion, Taraba 115 billion, Nasarawa 113 billion. All of them together, approximate them together. Now let's look at what those states generate on their own. This is called IGR, internally generated revenue. It is the money a state raises by itself through taxes, business activity, and its own economy. It has nothing to do with oil, nothing to do with Abuja. It is what the state produces on its own strength. Yobe received 119 billion from the federal account in 8 months, UB entire IGR, remember IGR for internal generated revenue, for a full year is 11 billion. For every naira UB generated by itself, the federal government earns 10 more. Funded largely by Rivers Oil. Taraba received 115 billion and they only generated 17 billion. KB received 120 billion and KBIGR is 16 billion. Between 17 and 92% of most northern state budget comes from the federal allocation. Not from what they built, not from what they have produced, from a port that River and Delta and Lagos fill every single month. Now, remember that 47 years I told you to hold that number at the beginning. Yakubu Gowon, Northern 9 years in power, is a Northerner. Ibrahim Babangida, Northerner, 8 years in power. Buhari, Northerner, as a matter of fact, he ruled twice. Military 8, then 10 years. 10 years combined together. Sani Abacha, Northerner, 5 years in power. Shehu Shagari, a Northerner, 4 years in power. Tafawa Balewa is a Northerner as well, 6 years as prime minister. Nearly 50 years of controlling the apparatus of this country. Nearly 50 years of setting policy, running the military, overseeing the allocation formulas, writing the rules of how oil money gets shared. And after all of that, the majority of northern states still cannot function without monthly federal transfer funded by oil from underneath rivers community. So the question I'm asking today is not a tribal one. It is not a religious one. It is a governance question. What exactly was done with 47 years of power? Because the next state I'm about to show you never controlled this country for anywhere near that long, never had the military, never wrote the allocation formulas, and still built something that puts 31 Nigerian states to shame. One single state. Yet they ruled for 47 years. They wrote the formulas, they had the leaders, they did everything. But one single state is about to change this narrative. Lagos State, no oil, 0 barrel, not one pipeline, not one rig. In 2025, Lagos generated 1.26 trillion in internally generated funds. That is internally generated revenue. Remember what that means. Money the state raised entirely on its own. No oil, no derivation, no monthly anger from Abuja. Pure commerce, pure taxes, pure economic activity. How big is that number? Lagos generated more from its own economy than 31 other Nigerian states combined. Now, these 31 states together produced 1.24 trillion. Lagos alone produced 1.26 trillion. Lagos self-generated income is bigger than the combined IGR of the entire Northwest, entire North Central, entire Northeast, and the entire Southeast zone. 4 geopolitical zones. Lagos beat all 4 of them put together. Only 2 to 3% of Lagos budget comes from the federation account. The federation account that 30 northern states depend on for 70 to 92% of their survival. Lagos barely touches it. Lagos run on what Lagos builds. And here is the part that makes this argument impossible to dismiss. Lagos did not build through oil at all. Lagos built this through economic structure, through commerce, through tax administration, through the deciding factor that is a state that can generate its own wealth and not wait for monthly hangouts from Abuja. The foundation was built before any Lagos person entered Aso Rock, so that those of you who not say Shebi Tinubu is there. The structure was already standing because someone chose to build something instead of collecting something. That is the difference between a state that governs and a state that collects. So Lagos State, 4 geopolitical zones. Lagos State, as smaller, go and check your map again. As small as Lagos State is, it generates an IGR, an amount that is bigger than 31 states combined. Oh, I am not hailing any particular tribe. You should know me very well. I just give you analysis. My issue is 47 years these people were in power and they did not put structures in place. They were just waiting for the free allocation. and nothing is working for them today. Majority of northern states cannot function without a monthly federal transfer funded by the oil underneath rivers communities. Let that sink. And somehow some people in that zone still feel cheated. This is not about tribe. This is not about religion. This is about accountability. This is about what you do with power when you have it and what the number says when the power is gone. Write your verdict in comments. One word, what do you call a system like this? Because I have more numbers and I'm coming with more. Somebody told me that, look, I love your analysis. I love the way you go about this thing, but I'm scared. Each time I watch your video, my heart bleeds for this country. But you know something? We need to understand what we are doing. That's the only way we can find results and not just allow politicians play us with ethnic cards and not allow them use religion on us any longer. Because this country, you like it or not, we are blessed. You like it or not, we have what it takes to make it great, and we are going to be great.